Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Today I have 5 9.8 comics that are dropping in value. So the first one up, it's a Sleepwalker #1 in a 9.8. Yeah, this one really heated up about 3 or 4 months ago. I was really surprised by some of the completed sales prices I saw for this one in a 9.8. I think there were some rumors going on then that, yeah, admittedly I don't really know what they were, but I saw a recent auction on this one in a 9.8, and based on that price, it looks like this one's cooling down and dropping in value. But Sleepwalker #1 on the census, there's 281 9.8s in a blue label. 37.9% is the 9.8 ratio. So that most recent sale, I saw one sell for $190 in an auction, $190 US, and those prices about from 3 to 4 months ago. I remember a few on Comic Link going right around $300. Pretty sure I saw one get up to right around $350 as well. So on a Sleepwalker, I grew up in the 1990s. I never read a Sleepwalker comic book, to be honest, so it's not one that I would really target, and I'm not sure like Sleepwalker's an iconic hero that's kind of worth investing in or anything like that. However, if you are a Sleepwalker fan, I think now is definitely a better time to buy this one than it was like 3 or 4 months ago when it heated up off of those rumors. So, one selling for 190 here. Maybe it even cools down a little bit more. It gets a little bit closer to 150. But I think $150 to $200 is kind of the price target to aim for now on a Sleepwalker #1. And certainly a better time to buy it now than, kind of 3 to 4 months ago. Okay, next one is an Eternals #1 in a 9.8. So that Eternals movie had kind of come and gone, and for most people, just nobody even really cared about it, to be honest. Yeah, some people saw it, but I don't think too many people were into the Eternals movie. And for me, right off the bat, I have no idea why MCU went with Eternals. Like, for me, Eternals was one of those comic books I never read, not an iconic superhero or superhero team or anything like that. So I really don't even know why MCU messed around with Eternals, to be honest, when they could do X-Men, Fantastic Four. Like, there's so many other big iconic brands in Marvel to do besides Eternals. So not a surprise that it flopped, and Eternals #1 in the 9.8 is dropping in value. There's 612 9.8s in a blue label, 7.2% the 9.8 ratio. Saw one sell for $832 recently, and another one for $999. So this was one, it was right around that $2,000 level for quite a long time leading up into the Eternals movie. Even, during the hot comic book market, the stimulus checks and, all the books were doing well during that time. Pretty sure this one was like $2,500, like really getting up there. And it's just absolutely come down to earth and is dropping in value now. If you like Eternals, it's a pretty decent time to buy this one, but I think kind of the same things I just talked about, where I don't think Eternals is that big of an iconic kind of brand. I think you're better off probably buying like a big Wolverine key issue or an X-Men or Spider-Man key issue rather than an Eternals #1, even though it's cooled down quite a bit. But yeah, a decent time. Like, if you are the biggest Eternals fan, it is kind of a better time to buy it now than sort of leading into the Eternals movie. So, okay, next one I've noticed that's just cooling down maybe a little bit, but one I kind of want and am going to keep my eye out for. And I noticed one sell in a 9.8 that I think is a really good price. That's kind of a price to aim for. Silver Surfer Black #1 in the Crane Virgin Edition. Yeah, this is just one of the best modern covers going for me, with the Clayton Crane cover with Silver Surfer. Looking as cool as ever, I think. And so for this one, in the Crane Virgin Edition on the census, there's 45 9.8s in a blue label. There's over 100 like signed versions of this one in a 9.8, so there's more signature series ones of this, but we'll just stick to the blue label. 90% is the 9.8 ratio. So I saw one of the blue labels sell for $187 in a 9.8. I think that's a great price. I saw another one sell for $255.55. And this is one about, a year and a half ago. The comic book market was hotter, but you'd see a few of these go for over $300. So I think that auction for $187 was what kind of made me think that, oh, this one's dropping in value. But in this case, I think the cover is just so cool. This, for me, out of Silver Surfer Black #1s, this is kind of the one to get. And if you can swing the Virgin Edition in the 9.8 for $187, I think that's a screaming buy for this one. And certainly they were going over $300 not too long ago on a Silver Surfer Black #1 in the Crane Virgin Edition. That's a kind of a modern classic cover, I would say, on that one. Just a great eye appeal on that cover. All right, next one is just a really ice cold one. It was dropping in value, and I feel like it's just recently kind of dropped even more in value. It's New Avengers #11, the first appearance of Ronin. Yeah, this one, really surprised by some of the sales prices I've saw compared to, a year or two ago. On the census for this one, 559 9.8s in a blue label, 56.8%. The 9.8 ratio, I saw one sell in an auction, $85.75, and another one sold for $118.50. So this was one, it was kind of $225 to $250, maybe even around $300 when, people were like, oh, Ronin's looking cool on some of the Avengers movies and stuff like that. And they were going to push Hawkeye as well. So this one has been, much hotter in just the past year or so. If you're liking this one, if you're a Ronin fan, definitely a better time to buy it than pretty much in the last year or two. $85.75 one had sold for. So I think around $100, like maybe a little bit under 100, is pretty much looking like a screaming value on a New Avengers 11 right now, even though a little bit of a cold book. I'm not sure if there's too much potential moving forward, but it's kind of a great value right now if you are a Ronin fan, and certainly a better time to buy now than, buying one for $225 leading into the movie kind of thing. So definitely one to keep an eye on the cool down if you're a Ronin fan, for sure. Okay, last one, a similar theme. I think a lot of these are kind of, fizzling out MCU sort of key issues. The last one is a Black Widow #1 in the variant edition. So the variant edition has Yelena Belova on the cover, and I think, if you want this one, it's the first full appearance of Yelena Belova, so you kind of probably want to go after the variant version with her on the cover. Looking pretty cool, but cooling down in price, I think, for this one. 169 9.8s in a blue label for this variant edition in the 9.8 on the census, 52% the 9.8 ratio. So recent sales price in a 9.8 saw this one go for $407. And this one was pretty much like $550 to $600. I think for a minute there, when it was sort of peak Black Widow hype, I guess you could call it. This one was probably about $600 or $700, maybe even a little bit more, this variant version. But seeing one sell for $407 in an auction. Again, yeah, this is a similar one to, I never really recommend to kind of, oh, Black Widow's coming out in an MCU movie, now I got to buy all the comics. Like, that's not my strategy ever. However, on the other end of these movies, these books really cool down, and then it ends up being a pretty decent time to buy these ones. And I think Black Widow #1 and the variant 9.8 falls into that category. Like, if you're a Yelena Belova fan, much better to buy this one around $400 than around like $600 to $700 they've been in the last year or two. So Black Widow #1 variant, pretty cool one too. I was surprised that like this one had a black cover. I thought it would be a little more tough in a 9.8. I thought the 9.8 ratio would be a little bit lower. But yeah, I think, if you're a Black Widow fan, you could probably consider this one around $400 rather than, when it was $600 or $700 not too long ago. All right, team. Great to go through a few 9.8 comics that are dropping in value. And as I said, yeah, just really seems like these are all kind of MCU key issues that maybe, the potential of the characters didn't really explode in any way. And a lot of the, a big reason why I don't really recommend to kind of, get in there after a trailer or, oh, they just, there's a rumor that, this character is going to be in this movie. Now I got to go out and buy all those books. A lot of times that's not going to work out. Sometimes it does if the characters really hit well in the movie. But in this case, like Eternals didn't do very well. New Avengers 11, that's kind of a secondary character of Avengers, Ronin. And Black Widow didn't do very well either. So these are all cooling down, after some of the promo and everything like that. But a pretty decent time to buy them right now, I think. All right, team. We'll leave it at that, though. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. If you're liking my content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.